This is CMAX Solari of Everyday Lives and Ethos app, the ethnographic research platform. And it's been a long while since I've done a video blog, but I thought I'd do one today. And before you listen to the rest of this, go get yourself a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and a biscuit. It's not going to be very long. It'll be about 5-10 minutes at most. But I think you could do with like me enjoying a cup of coffee. So press space key now. Space key in front of you now. Right. Um, Today's post. I am 46 years old, and I've turned into a support junkie, which means that as well as doing my day job, which is everyday lives projects and ethnography and consultancy, I am waiting, literally sitting and waiting for support emails to arrive with people who are having issues with our platform. Now, I put my hand up and say part of the reason people have issues with our platform is nothing to do with the platform, and it is everything to do with us personally. We don't have a user manual for it. Not that it really needs one. I mean, it is very, very intuitive. Have a play with it and see what you think. But the sort of problems we get are, for example, a client will call me and say, CMAC, one of our respondents is still sending entries to the project, but we're not getting them. They've vanished. They're just not coming up, but they're showing as sent on the device. I call up Steve, our digital director, in a panic. Oh yeah, I get really upset when I get queries like this where I think something's broken on the platform. I don't get angry. I just get upset and I internalize it and I calmly speak to Steve and say, Steve, it's saying sent, but it's not arrived. I mean, people are going to lose confidence in this platform if it's saying sent and it's not turning up there. And he says patiently to me, CMAC, let me have a look. I'll get back to you. So I sit there and I freeze. I can't do anything. I have this laptop on my lap and I'm just sitting here in the house waiting. And then he calls me up or Skypes me 5 minutes later and says, for some reason, they've set up this one user with 3 different accounts and they've switched him from one account to the next without realizing. So yes, the first account will stop receiving messages and entries, and that's what they've been looking at. It gives me a flush of relief to realize that it's user error. But why have they set up 3 different accounts? And anyway, we call them up and we sort it out very, very quickly. It's silly things like this that we get 95% of the time. 5% of the time, we get comments and suggestions, which are really, really good. And actually, this is the main point of this talk. When I first started working on the platform, not the web app, but not the device app, sorry, but the actual website, I honestly thought to myself, once it's built, it's finished. We can just leave it standing and license it out to people. No, it is a continuous, never-ending job, especially when it comes to adding features to it. And remember the story of this app. We built it for everyday lives. Originally, it was called the Everyday Lives app, and it was to help my colleagues going into the field to enable them to use their own devices, capture events, and send them back so that by the time they came back, all of the data was there, they could sort through it. Anyway, so we built it for us, and we get features, we get comments and suggestions about new features that should be added, which are fantastic. Some of them I love, and I wonder to myself, now why didn't I think of that myself? But we did build it originally to fit in with our own methodology and our own approach. And a lot of people love it. We have clients ranging from Coca-Cola to, anyway, I'm going to not name drop here. And but we built it for us. So when we get these new features, we make a list of them, and we have a long list of them. In fact, if you go to the LinkedIn Ethos user group on LinkedIn, join it. It's a good group. You'll see all the things that we're adding, but we have to debate them because I've got a developer involved in charge rather, and he has to spend some of his time developing, i.e., writing code for the new features. But a lot of his time is also taken up with me calling him and saying, Steve, entries are missing. So before we know it, sometimes a feature that should take a week to finish and push through can take 4 weeks, and I'm not exaggerating, simply because of other things that come up that we have to do. Now, we had a debate about a week ago about these features, and we just couldn't make up our minds about which was the most important one to do first. And I had one colleague sitting there with his commercial cap on saying, this will be more appealing because a lot of clients want this one in particular, and we'll be able to sell more. I had my digital guys, my developers saying, actually, the UI is more important. We need to get the design right. We need to get the look and feel right. The consumer, the responder app is still too geeky. And even though it's relatively okay to use, people still, need to be shown how to use it sometimes. So there's work to do on there. And I was just listening. I was a spectator listening to these guys going back and forth and saying, look, we're not saying this isn't important. We're just saying it should be put in behind this and all that kind of stuff. In the end, the argument that won through was, what does everyday lives want? And what do I want? I'm building this thing for me. I'm not building it for anybody else. I'm an ethnographer. I've been doing ethnography for over 15 years. And I'm talking about video ethnography, going into the field, filming people. We've built this device as something for ethnographers to use in the field, not respondents to journal with. What would we want it to have to make our lives easier? And that's the route that we've taken. That has become our guiding principle. If you're going to look back at me and say, yeah, but that's your subjective view, that's C-Max Solari's view of what comes first, kind of is. And I make no apologies for it. The only thing I would say is that we do have some serious rows about it, and it's very, very healthy. We have some serious arguments over what should come first, and that always tempers things. It keeps us in check. Anyway, I hope you didn't find this too painful to listen to. It's 8 minutes and 8 seconds. I'd love your thoughts on features and how to prioritize them. Thank you for listening and watching.